Welcome back, my movie connoisseurs, to another exciting episode of Ridunculoso. House of Ridicule, no victims are allowed. There's much going on in Castlevania Nocturne. We have before us a tragedy of Belmont. This is a story of Belmont, his tragedy. What happened in his tragedy? Who is his new nemesis? Who is the new team members that he have who's coming in? What about this new goddess called Segment? And what sacrifices she looking for? What it is? Can they withstand this new vampire messiah? Better yet, who's going to be there to save them at the end? There's much and more exciting that's happening. There might be some archetype abuse in here as well. We'll talk about that and much, much more. So make sure your popcorn is popping. Hope you got your popcorn. The wall of pops has spoken. So stay tuned and we'll get right down to business. All right. Castlevania Nocturne. let's get down to business. Let's do the down and dirty, very high points of different episodes. Okay. The story starts off with it's all premise of Belmont earlier. Belmont, the vampire hunter, off the other Castlevania collections, about his early life fighting vampires. But it started off showing about a tragedy that he endured during his really childhood that seemed to stick with him throughout this whole ordeal of this particular series. So we come into Paris where he has met Tara the Seeker and Claire, her daughter. So they also have their power similar to the young lady he was getting with in the first collections that they have. So, but anyway,
right.
They're down there trying to hunt vampires. So basically at the end of episode 1, it brings into us they was destroying the vampires. They learn of this vampire messiah. And you had 2 new additions, Annette and Eduardo, who are Caribbean once slaves. I thought Eduardo wasn't. He was a mulatto. So he was an opera singer, but Annette was a slave.
Hey.
And it goes more into her story later. Episode 2 goes into almost a slavery colonist mantra about basically the slave masters are really like the vampires in the Caribbeans, whereas they was over all of the slaves, primarily Annette during her childhood. So
Okay.
we also learn about Tara the Seeker, about her childhood when she was in Russia and she met this so-called vampire messiah, and she basically captured her sister, turned her sister in, and Tara had to basically kill her to free her of the vampire curse, and then she fled Russia to where we currently have her now in Paris. So episode 3 goes on into the really go into the backstory of Annette, the Caribbean slave, who also saw her mother die at the hand of one of the vampires, and that's who she was trying to out this entire. So it basically just gave that background for her, and then at the end of this, and the highlight in episode 3 is that they went to spy out at this chateau, see what the vampires were doing. Annette screwed up, and it caused one of them to be captured. So episode 4, she feeling guilty, and she tries to, it goes into strong, and I gotta save him, and he understood this, but it was like irrational, reckless, and so from that point, they go and try to rescue Edward because they had the Forge Master machine that was converting everybody. They basically turned to capture the suck dry into these new fiends, losing the Forge Master. And most of us know about the Forge Masters from the previous collection, but this one appears to be like a Forge Master machine versus actually using the Forge Masters that we've seen in the.
He done upgraded.
Yeah. So that was in episode 4. So no, so at the end of episode 4, they go down there without really a plan, even though your boy Belmont was trying to tell him and they try to act like he was scared or coward. But they go
Right.
down, they fight the vampires. They beat Drota, who is kind of one of the generals of the vampire messiah. And like I said, she's a black vampire, melanated, however you want to say. We're just gonna say black. But
Melanated.
yeah, so she was there, and so she's kind of like setting up the stage for the vampire messiah get there. So they was fighting, doing well until Orox appeared, and he was the one who was earlier, who caused the tragedy earlier in Belmont life. And so, the
Okay.
fear and everything, the childhood, and then he runs off and leave everybody. Tell him we got to get out. So he runs off, all crying and all scared. So he leaves and panics. So then all of them left. So at that, so that was the way the episode 4 ended. Episode 5 started with basically Belmont trying to find himself. Annette was able to to get her vengeance back.
Okay.
Maria, the daughter of Tara, found out the secret, a long secret that her mother had lied about. So she found out that secret. And then at the end of that episode 5, Belmont meet another mysterious vampire slayer, another particularly possibly could be a Belmont. So it goes into that. So episode 6, we almost there.
Nah. Oh no, you're fine.
He finally arrived. So, but you go, Belmont go into his whiny, self-righteous, over this new vampire slayer, talk about that. But anyway, he gains his magical power back and able to destroy some vampires who was like accosting him. So now he's able to get his magical power again. Orox gave him the Forge Master book in episode 7 because he they was trying to start the machine. He saw kind of how dangerous this particular vampire messiah could be. He thought that she was just going to use them and cast them to the side. So he might have some truth behind it, however it may be. So at the end, like I said, it's all dealing with this vampire messiah and this god called Sekhmet, who is a goddess of war. Maybe I think primarily from the Egyptian time, and I think so.
Those are Egyptians.
Messiah supposed to have basically drank the blood, or she was unsure. But anyway, so at the end, a member is lost, the team flees, and right upon their annihilation, a savior appears. So that might make you at this point want to see more. So that's it. That's the down and dirty of it. So now y'all got the premise of how it is. So now that's a quick and dirty. So now we finna go into the down and dirty. So the down and dirty is like, you have coming right off the bat, they want you to drink the Kool-Aid. So then I got about 6. I gotta
switcheroo.
My hater shade. I can't have them. Okay.
Not the hater blockers.
So this is what they want you to drink the Kool-Aid. Listen, there was. I'm just gonna be really strict. Annette, the Caribbean who came through from there, it basically had a whole lot of slavery premise background. But it's just like they overindulged in it too much. They just tried to make it seem like the victim and how, like, so she's unempathetic, and even though everybody else have nightmares, of their path or whatever, it's like, well, I had nightmares too, and whatever. And, it goes into so much of premise that when she's in the astral plane, even her mouth are like, well, we all ran from things. So, it goes to that. That was kind of to me one of the main archetypes that they kind of pulled into it. That we got.
They always trying to profit off our trauma.
So,
anyway,
so we got that. That's what it was. So I call that, like I said, the broomstick bandit was fighting strong in here to let you know how much more powerful, they are.
Yeah.
They just, they go through it. But it did have a good premise in terms of having the storyline of her mother being killed by the vampire slave owner, and her giving her beat and so forth. So it was pretty good. So other archetype you had was the Rainbow Renegades.
The Rainbow Renegades.
I have to say they was utilized. They were utilized fairly well. Like I said, Oryx, who killed his mother at the beginning, he basically killed her because he came off and let her know that he let the young childhood Belmont know that he killed her because she took someone important from him. So that's basically what. Plus, like I said, Belmont was hard headed because she told him to get to the boat, and he wanted to fight with his little firepower. So they basically trying to say after this, he couldn't use magic no more until he was grown up and he was able to take and help to get his power at the behest of the broomstick, protecting the broomstick bat. But
you had to protect her.
like I said, you had the normal always bed scene with the Rainbow Renegade, so you can be without doubt that they are part of the Rainbow Renegade. So you have that, but so
I like they didn't just try to play on it make it their whole personality,
I think that is, and I put you kind of had this whole wokeness type insomniacs because they never go to sleep.
Right.
Brainwashing. They basically changed the movie from what it really should be. You come into it thinking that it should be just vampires against humans, but it goes into so much more in terms of religious aspect, liberty and freedom. It's
so easy to drown out the focus of the show. You can't throw all type of. Okay, go ahead.
Right. It's like they tried to mix everything that we went through. All of this was mixed up into the story, and it took away the premise of just bad ass vampire hunting. It just took away from it. You didn't really get, to me, in terms of the true action. There was some action, don't get me wrong, but it was so much seemed like the premise of so much of these narratives and whining and crying. Because they had Belmont running through like he was scared. I know they're trying to act like it plays on his childhood, but it kind of took away from, the Belmont we know and fighting. And it was just
right.
Then it was like self-righteous when he saw his grandfather. You were never there for my mother when she died, or where were you at? Whatever. Even though the grandfather told him of his power, the grandfather went through the same ordeal, lost his magic as well when he had that trauma that happened with his wife and his best friend. He tried to act like, but I think the only thing I hate when he got his power, magical powers back, blue flames, is that it was always behest that the broomstick band, like only when the vampire said, well, we're gonna go and get your mother who is not your mother, your sister not your sister, and we're gonna do it. Then he able to use his power.
Nothing else he went through in his life.
Yeah, it just
nothing else he went through in his life could have triggered it, but this exact moment.
Then he get this little bandana, little head tie thing that the protesting liberal girls was out there trying to tell him, well, you can take and fight for us. And he was like, I ain't got no fight. And then one of the girls was like, look, you got a lot of fight left to fight for us. I'm like, wait.
Oh my. So basically she had to give him the courage again to believe in himself.
That's it. And that was the premise of that's the first 8 episodes. Now it does go into the vampire messiah, who she was just sucking blood from all the girls wherever she goes through, walking around. Even though I thought she was supposed to be for the kind of like the women, but she didn't. So she was sucking all the little girls, and basically
contradicting.
Trying to go against this nocturne moon. They turned the moon, the sun, and tried to give it a sun to make it a black sun, but then it was like it wasn't consuming the sun. I don't know, but anyway, the sun was almost eclipsed. That's what I'm just gonna call it. And so she to transform into her former vampire messiah self into like this the segment, I guess, goddess form, however it may be. And nobody could at that point couldn't touch her, no power. I mean, at that point she invincible. And so they showed, like I said, the religious fanatic, like almost as like the priest who got Claire, priest that got Tara pregnant to get Claire when she first came to Paris. So you had the little narratives such as, "Oh, you men and your balls." That's what the vampire messiah said to the when she found out that the priest actually had a daughter, which he shouldn't have, since he was a priest and shouldn't have slept with anybody.
Right.
But it was like I said, it was his fault, not both of the fault. It was his fault. And so basically they tried to have him, like they tried to pull in Abraham, the vampire messiah, like, you need to have a greater sacrifice of someone you loved. So he was there about to kill his Claire, the daughter, and and then he was like, "Where's the ring?" And the wife, Tara, no, not even the wife, his lover, Tara, on the ring, and she gave herself to Segmet, and she bit him, and so that's it. So at the end, right when they was about to take and go, so this is super spoiler, so you want to don't listen. At the end, when they was chasing them down across the field, they escaped the city with Claire was unconscious. Your boy Alucard showed up, so that was the good point. Like, oh man, yeah, that did. And so that to me, that was the high point of the whole movie. That was at the very end of the 8 episodes. So I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold it too long. This is how I feel. I just felt Just
mind-boggling.
just watch. This is the way I felt when I got through watching it. And Alec, and it makes you definitely say if it was another, you'd be like, I don't really want to see. It'll just be off. So, you'll just be like, it'll. If I ain't got nothing better to do, I'll see the next 8 episodes. I mean, but it was only like you said, 20. It was only 20 minutes each. So it wasn't bad, maybe 2.5, 3 hours total. So it's a nice watch if you can get past the whining, the little bit of cyanide when I'm just crying and acting stupid and not having plans and shaming each other and trying to act like I'm better than you and my trauma is better than you. If you can get past all of that, is the popcorn? Did I open up a bag of Orville Redenbacher? I think I might open it up and ate like half the bag. That's what it is. But it did.
Half the bag.
It was a cheese. It was already the cheese over Redenbacher. So it was interesting enough. It had like enough of the little vampire killing. So that's it. That's
so no butter.
But I'll say it's worth to watch a little bit if you just like you said, got nothing better to watch like on a Saturday evening. Whatever. Like I said, 2.5, 3 hours, and it's entertaining enough if you can swallow the little bit of cyanide they put in there, and it'll be pretty good. Definitely half a bag of cheddar over Redenbacher. Worth watching. Like I said, you just peel through like the kernels and the popcorn, some of the hard ones, and spit them out, and then you have
right.
Okay. We're not gonna hold you up. I think that's long enough. So I think we're gonna sign off. We're letting you know that the popcorn was popping, but at least for half a bag and had a few kernels in them. So
barely. It was barely pop.
All right, y'all. So until next time, keep the popcorn popping.